implementing bio abilities and ID 2020, facial recognition, selling coke and dope ain't the business. Nope, forget trapping and wit and ball the business. Yep, hey yo, what? True peace, Ken. It's May 10th, 2020, and I'm back at y'all with another one. So if you're trying to stay ahead of the game, peep the slang. Biometrics for charity in Nigeria. Electoral audit demand in Malawi. WURI, WURI funding for West Africa. That's the headline, but peep the slang. While in recent weeks, the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic led to the disabling of biometric systems based on fears of spreading the virus, more recently, opportunities have arisen for private companies. This week, we see large-scale projects continuing with the World Bank's WURI, WURI program across ECOWAS, ECOWAS states. Meanwhile, in East Africa, activists in Malawi are demanding an audit of what they see as the same technological setup for a rerun of the election as was in the initial poll in May 2019, a poll that was hyped as Malawi's first biometric election. Biometric technology is being put to a broader use in Nigeria as a way to tackle fraud in charitable giving, likewise in Ghana for mobile money transfers. Nigeria, COVID-19 charitable giving uses BVNs to reduce fraud. Nigeria, COVID-19 charitable giving uses BVN to reduce fraud. Tech workers have created crowdfunding sites to raise money for those struggling during the COVID-19 pandemic and are using biometric banking details as a way to prevent fraud, reports Reuters. A team of software engineer volunteers created the site Angels Among Us, which matches donors and recipients. It has facilitated over 2 million Naira, 5,128 in donations. The site uses biometric bank verification numbers, BVNs, to help verify the situation of the recipients. Another site, We Are Together, has raised over 17 million Naira, 47,000, which was distributed to 1,739 recipients. According to the report, an African Union study warns that 20 million jobs are at risk in Africa. This is coupled with rapidly increasing food costs. West Africa, Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, and Niger join WURI ID system. West Africa, Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, and Niger join WURI, that's WURI ID system. The World Bank approved $273 million of International Development Association financing to bring Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, and Niger into the West Africa Unique Identification for Regional Integration and, in conclusion, WURI, WURI program, according to a release by the bank. The program aims to build foundational ID systems that are inclusive of nationals and residents across ECOWAS, ECOWAS states to help people access services. The 4 new countries joined Guinea and Cote d'Ivoire in the $395 million project. In the wake of the COVID-19 crisis, identifying and providing social protection to those employed in the informal sector who are not covered by any program but are vulnerable and may slip into poverty has become more critical than ever, says Dina Ringgold, World Bank African Regional Director for Human Development, according to the release. The WURI, WURI program can support social insurance systems for the informal sector that are interoperable with social registries and build regional on foundational identification platforms. Malawi People Power Movement calls for electoral audit ahead of poll rerun. Malawi People Power Movement calls for electoral audit ahead of poll rerun. Citizens for Transformation (CFT) is demanding an audit of the electoral management system and firing of the chief of the National Registration Bureau ahead of the July 2nd presidential rerun, reports the Nyasa Times. Malawi's first biometric election was held in May 2019, but the result was finally annulled by a panel of judges in February 2020 due to the widespread evidence of rigging. Before Malawians go back to the polls, the head of Commander-in-Chief of CFT human rights activist Timothy Mutombo, who recently left the leadership of the Human Rights Defenders Coalition to create the political movement, is demanding a thorough audit of the technological sides of the new poll. He argued that it is the same system as in the annulled election. Ghana: could biometrics solve the mobile money fraud problem? Ghana: could biometrics solve the mobile money fraud problem? Mobile money fraud is highly problematic in Ghana and an issue in which people are beginning to believe operators are complicit, writes Ad Julian Malawi. Okay, what's that? Okay, Mawuli for tech aggregated platform JB Klutz, and who believes biometric verification could be a solution. Biometric registration of SIM cards, if properly controlled with a new exercise, could be the tool needed to tackle persistent issues. Okay, Mawuli notes the network MTN as the most associated with mobile money fraud. Through MTN has tried various campaigns to raise awareness among users. News in brief and updates. News in brief and updates. In brief, low-income countries ID for Africa's Knowledge Hub hosts a summary of a survey on ID ownership, use, and barriers in low-income countries conducted by the World Bank ID4D initiative and the Global Findex team. One of the main findings is that factors such as employment and marriage status tend to be associated with higher rates of ID ownership, which in turn is associated with much higher rates of financial account and mobile phone ownership. In brief, South Africa employers must take measures to ensure biometric systems are disabled or made COVID-19 proof, according to a government order, as part of preparations for people returning to work as the coronavirus lockdown is eased. Update: Nigeria Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria alleges plans to cut salaries and benefits, call for biometric ID entry cards to be reissued to port workers. In brief, Kenya, following last year's biometric survey to determine ghost workers and develop an understanding of civil service staff profiles, which revealed that over half of Nairobi City's Hall staff were old at over 50. The recently formed Nairobi Metropolitan Service is to appoint 1,000 new younger enforcement staff after deploying 800 enforcement officers from City Hall. In brief, South Sudan, the International Organization for Migration and World Food Programming, conducted biometric registration in Unity's Lear County from September to December 2019, covering 39,920 individuals in a 9,276 households. 17% were returnees and 2% were internally displaced persons.